Friends, welcome back. It's the second week of the Men Mastered. This entire week, we're dedicating ourselves to setting the right goals. Goals that will motivate us, improve our lives, and help us live at the peak of our energy and potential. And today, friends, we're going to look at a legendary tool that will help you solve the main problem behind not achieving your goals. If I were to ask you right now, what is it? What's the main reason why goals aren't achieved? Probably the obvious answer, and it's the right one, is lack of motivation. A person who set 10 goals for themselves on New Year's and didn't achieve a single one gave up in the first week, the second, and by the third month had abandoned everything. What they lacked was the motivation to stay consistent in pursuing those goals. Why? Why did he lack motivation? Let's figure this out, friends. What is motivation? Motivation comes from the word motive. Motive. A motive to do something. A motive is a reason. It's the why behind why you need to do something. So, at a certain point, the person didn't have a strong enough reason of why it was important for them to do it, and they thought, well, my life is fine as it is, even without this. That's exactly why he just gave up on it at a certain stage of working toward that goal. Imagine what would happen if you could hack yourself, and for any goal you set, you could awaken within yourself an endless source of motivation. Just an endless source of motivation. How would your life change? I think it would be unreal. Any goal you set, you take action. You stay consistent. You can't be stopped. Day, night, evening, tired. Things aren't working out. You failed. You didn't succeed 200 times. You keep going. You can't be stopped. Success is inevitable. Any financial success, any success in anything you set your mind to, fitness, in any kind of development, in acquiring any skill, success is inevitable. Awesome. You just solved the motivation problem. Let's exaggerate the situation now and try to solve the motivation problem in this exaggerated way. How do you do that? Look, here is a simple example. Let's say your goal, for example, is to wake up at 6 a.m. Wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and work for an hour on a specific task. For example, that's your goal. So, you get up at 6 o'clock. At 6:10, you start working. And at 7:10, you are done. That's your goal for the month. You need to stick with it for a month. How can you make sure you'll last a month? An exaggerated way would be if your friends told you if even once when the alarm goes off at 6 o'clock, you don't jump out of bed that very second. If you don't go brush your teeth, and so on, use the bathroom and sit down at your desk at 6:10 to start your work, opening your computer without checking social media or anything else. If you, without opening social media, without going anywhere, if you don't open your computer and start working on your project, the one you need to work on for 1 hour without any interruptions, then we'll cut off both your legs. So for 30 days, if you oversleep even once, we'll cut off both your legs. That's the kind of exaggerated method I am talking about. Now, there is no need to go any further right now. Yeah, crazy. To analyze this example, just imagine we'll cut off both your legs, okay? How motivated would you be to stick it out for all 30 days? I think every one of us in this course, all 280 people in this course would make it through every single day. No one would lose their legs. Their legs, friends, I assure you, no one would have their legs cut off because motive is the reason getting up and doing it, not getting distracted by social media, not going on YouTube. At the very moment you open YouTube, at the very moment you think, oh, today I just don't feel like getting up, maybe I'll just lie here for a couple more hours, sleep a bit more. The second you think that, and stay in bed for more than 10 seconds after the alarm goes off, that's -2, motivation. Peak motivation. There was a peak, friends. Now imagine, friends, what if your motivation was to stick to a routine for 30 days, get up at the same time, and work for 1 hour on a project? Not only is your motivation not to lose both legs, but also $1 million. $1 million. What could you do with $1 million? Wow, 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 wow. Unbelievable. Not lose both legs and get $1 million. Come on. Who among us would give up on this challenge for 30 days straight? Not a single person. Not a single person. Everyone who signed up for this course, even if there were 20,000 people here, I am sure everyone would stick it out. The cost of failure is too high, and the reward is too great. That's exactly why everyone would last those 30 days doing what needed to be done. No one would get distracted. No one would oversleep. Why do we need such an exaggerated example? It's to understand that the question of motivation and achieving any goal is a solvable one. The most important thing is to put enough on the line. What will happen if you don't achieve it? And to put enough on a pedestal, what will happen if you do achieve it? And when these two factors are properly set and fixed in your mind in relation to this goal, then your failure is out of the question. You will remain consistent in pursuing this goal and achieve the result you have set for yourself. And today's tool will help you create such motivational parameters for any goal that truly matters to you. Are you ready? Let's get started. So this tool is called ABC Goal. Point A is where you are now. Point B is where you want to be. This is very important. Where you are now and where you want to be. Here is where you set any of your goals. For example, from the long-term goals we set yesterday, you set it here where you want to be. For instance, if here I want to earn $5,000 a month, then here you set I am earning $500 a month. When you have set point A and point B, then you move on to the second question. That is, what will your life genuinely look like if you choose to stay at point A or if you eventually reach your point B? First, you should thoughtfully describe what your life will look like if you remain at this point, which is where you are right now. In other words, in this column, you will record what you want to move away from, what you want to get rid of, which feelings and situations you no longer want to experience or be a part of, and what you no longer want in your life. Here is where you write all of that down. And here, you describe what your life will look like afterwards when you reach point B. You record everything you will gain, everything you will be able to have, how you will be able to feel, what you will be able to allow yourself, how your life will change, and how your environment will change, where you will live, how it will all happen. This is where you write it all down. Because there are two types of motivation: motivation away from and motivation towards. Here at point A, we have motivation away from. We are running away from something. We are getting rid of something. And here at point B, it is motivation towards. What do you want to achieve? How do you want to feel? What do you want to be able to afford? How do you want to live? Where do you want to live? All of this you write down here. And similarly, here is your motivation of the -2 legs type. In other words, I don't want this. And here, in our analogy, this is your motivation of $1 million. I want this. And thus, when you write down your motivation from and your motivation to, that's where the magic happens. The point is now, every time you think, yeah, I am starting to slack off, I am starting to lose motivation, I just don't feel like it again, you come back here and look at what you are running from, what you don't want, and what you are aiming for, what you want to achieve. And at that moment, you should feel inspired again. Damn, you can't stop, you can't slow down, you can't ease up, keep going, keep working, and only move forward until I achieve my result. For example, here is what it might look like. When I was working at McDonald's, I set a goal. I want to quit McDonald's and do what I love 24/7, doing what I love right here. In my reasons for how my life would look if I stayed in the same place, I had an endless list here. I wrote down the number 10, friends. At least 10 points. At least 10. Ideally, 20. You can even do 30 because you'll come up with 5 right away. But for 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, you'll find them if you think about it. But then completely different perspectives might start to open up for you. This is your goal. What you want to move toward, what you want to move away from completely different angles when some new facets start to emerge, and you'll find an even deeper motivation to achieve this goal you are working through here. That's why when I was at McDonald's, my list was practically endless. Friends, I would never be satisfied with my life. I would always go to work reluctantly. I would wake every day knowing that I am not realizing my potential. I would never be able to afford anything I dreamed of. I would never be able to meet the girl of my dreams. I would never be able to help my parents. My ex would keep thinking that I am worthless and good for nothing. And so, you keep adding to this list. 10, 20, 30 items. How many do you need to build up enough motivation to ignite a burning desire within yourself not to stay here for even a second longer? Once you've done that, once you've written it all down here, then you move on to this part. What will happen if, for example, I quit my job at McDonald's? I wake up every day with a fire in my eyes, feeling inspired. I use my time the way I dream of to realize my potential. A world of unlimited earning potential opens up for me, and I can pursue my dreams. I have time to travel. I can create the environment around me that I dream of. My ex will be amazed at who I was and who I've become. You just keep adding here +1 +1 +1. Everything that will drive you, motivate you, push you forward, and make you strive to achieve it. 10. At the very least 20, 30, as many as you want, as many as come to your mind. The ultimate goal of this exercise is to awaken a burning desire not to stay in point A for even a second and as much as possible. Move to point B as quickly as possible. If at any moment you lose motivation toward any goal, you can always come back. Always look at this goal and read it. Read it to bring the images back to life in your mind. These things should awaken images of what awaits you. The terrible, dreary, sad, miserable things that are in store for you. If you stay where you are in these images, these visualizations of the future that awaits you when you achieve this goal, after reading these two things, you shouldn't have any more questions about motivation, and you keep moving forward. What happens if you take your goal? Maybe you wrote it down just yesterday, right? Or maybe you've had it for a long time. You take your goal, you set it here, you write out the first column, you write out the second column, and basically, you don't feel any motivation. You barely manage to find 1 or 2 points here. You found 1-2 points here and you realize that basically my life will stay at the same level. I won't really lose anything and I won't really gain anything either. That means you don't need this goal. If you can't figure out how your life will actually change and what you'll get rid of something specific, someone inspiring, motivating, meaningful reasons, then it means this goal is not for you. It's against you. Someone imposed it on you, or you took it on because you heard it was something you should do. That's it. And that's it. If the points you list here don't inspire you, then why would you even want to move toward this goal? That means it's a false goal and you can just get rid of it. Also, what else can happen? For example, you set a goal for yourself to earn $10 million, but right now you are making $500. And when you start writing down how your life will look when you earn that money, you might start writing things here. List everything you have, something that inspires you, what you want to do with that money. Like hypothetically, let's say $10 million a month. I find that there are some really cool things here, something that could change your life. But in reality, you don't actually need $10 million a month. It's really just that you heard it from someone, thought it sounded like a cool goal, and now you think you need to strive for it just because the goal is $10 million a month. That kind of goal will make you organize your life in a completely different way. Strive for totally different things and set completely different priorities. Maybe all those things you want to achieve, having freedom, traveling, and so on, everything you've listed, all those things that inspire you, you'll be able to do them, and you can do them with $10,000 a month, not just $10 million a month. So set your goal at $10,000. First of all, this goal will become much more realistic for you. You might immediately start to see a vision of how to achieve this goal. And by changing your goal for the next year, for example, changing from 10 million to 10,000, your mind will start working in a completely different way. And you might even see paths you hadn't noticed before for reaching that number. And then when you reach that number, not only will you have gotten there faster, but you'll also have received everything you wanted. And then let's say at the stage of 10,000 a month, you might think, okay, you've already flown business class. You've already been there. Your social circle has changed. And now you see how your new circle lives. You've tried certain things. You've seen a different lifestyle. You've taken part in something new. And you start thinking, okay, I like this too. I want to have this in my life and that in my life as well. And then, let's say you can set a goal for yourself. Say you have 10,000. And the next level, for example, is 100,000 a month or even 1 million a month. So that's where you start from. That's why definitely your long-term goal can be big. But the long-term goal, the real goal that you are moving toward, that you are achieving is right here. Run it through and feel what you truly, genuinely need. That's why, number 1, this tool helps awaken endless motivation. Number 2, this tool helps you identify a false goal. And number 3, this tool will help you identify a partially false goal or a goal that is incorrectly set in terms of amounts, dates, kilograms, and so on. Identify it and change it. Friends, I advise you not to be lazy. Try this tool at least for one goal. Take your most basic goal. Take this one goal and run it through these steps today. Ideally, right now. If you have about 20 minutes, do it right now. On a sheet of paper, draw all of this out. A, B. Write down your goal, where you want to be, where you are now. Then divide the page in half and go through each point. You will feel the power. you will feel the full strength of this tool. Notice your level of motivation, the thing you uncover that you didn't even realize were there on the surface, and now your motivation becomes deep-rooted. You don't need to watch motivational videos just to get inspired to act before motivational videos. It's great because there are new ideas, new websites, new tools there. But if you need motivational videos just to force yourself to do things, that's not the right thing approach. It's not a long-term approach, not a sustainable approach. It doesn't work. What really works is deep motivation. So, moving forward, apply your insights. Write them in the comments. I am really looking forward to it, friends. You can do it right now or afterwards. Do this exercise for at least one goal, and let's go. Friends, our task this week is to clearly know what we're striving for, where we're heading, and why. That's where we're heading. Make sure our motivation is at its peak. Not external, but internal. The kind that comes from within, from the heart. Let's move forward, friends. Thank you so much for watching. Stay in touch.